Coming to Kickstarter this June, John Haynes at Death's Door, the man who rules the world, takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the standard and variant editions of John Haynes at Death's Door and lots of other great stretch goal rewards on Kickstarter this June. Christian Cooper, the black male who was racially profiled by a white female, Amy Cooper, in Central Park, in 2020 is getting a new TV show. Now, back in 2020, your Christian Cooper, a black man, was in the Central Park Bird Sanctuary, and he was watching the birds as Amy Cooper was walking her dog. Now, Amy Cooper, a white female, let her dog off the leash, and your Christian Cooper admonished her that she was not allowed to have a dog off the leash in the bird sanctuary. And on being told what not to do by a black man, your Amy Cooper became upset, and as Christian Cooper was taping her, she was getting on her cell phone, calling the police, and threatening to make an accusation against Christian Cooper, hoping to try to get Christian Cooper attacked or murdered by the police. Now, this all went on in a video that went viral, and as this video went viral, your Amy Cooper wound up losing her dog, losing her job, and was charged with criminal charges by the prosecutor's office. And as many black men were hoping that Christian Cooper would have the backbone and the balls to stand up for black men and create legal precedent to protect the rights of black men from racists like Amy Cooper, your Christian Cooper nutted up and chickened out. And once he chickened out by deciding not to press charges, this led to the entire case against Amy Cooper collapsing in the prosecutor's office. And as a result of your Christian Cooper's cowardice, what happened was your Amy Cooper only had to take a couple of restorative justice lessons after the Manhattan District Attorney's Office dropped all of its charges. Now, what it looks like to me in the aftermath of Christian Cooper dropping all of the charges on Amy Cooper is that your National Geographic is giving your Christian Cooper a consolation prize to reward him for going out here to bootlick for white supremacy. Because the only reason I believe that your Christian Cooper got this show, Extraordinary Birder, on National Geographic is because he went out here and helped give white supremacy a pass by dropping all of the charges on Amy Cooper and refusing to hold her accountable for the racist behavior she participated in. And that's what sadly happens with a lot of these black bootlicks. They are willing to take some crumbs from the master's table in order to get something for themselves instead of trying to stand up for all black people as a collective. Because your Christian Cooper, instead of him standing up for the rights of all black men, he decided to sit down at the table of white supremacy, and he took whatever they offered him at that table, only thinking of himself, not thinking about setting a legal precedent for all foundational black Americans. Because the entire case against Amy Cooper wasn't just about Christian Cooper. No, the entire case that the Central Park Karen participated in was about setting legal precedent to deal with these Karens who have been out here all across the country, going out here seeking to racially profile black men, making allegations against black men, and making these allegations against black men to get attention for themselves. And as they're looking to get attention for themselves to deal with their insecurities about feeling bad about getting older, what they're doing is weaponizing law enforcement and hoping to use law enforcement to do harm to black men. And these Karens are a danger to most black men out here because all a black man has to do is just be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and these Karens will because they're insecure about not getting attention from white men or being able to get resources from white men. They will go out here and stage an incident putting a black man's life in jeopardy, and that's something most black men need to take a stand against. Unfortunately, your Christian Cooper didn't have a backbone or some balls to do this, and because of him, we still have this dangerous legal precedent, which is akin to what we had in the dark days of the Jim Crow South. Because in the Jim Crow South, all it took was one of these insecure white women to start acting up, and a black man's life could basically be put in jeopardy. All a white woman had to do was go out here and say a black man did something, and during the dark days of the Jim Crow South, you would have a group of beta white males looking to go out here to either lynch a black man or go out here and put a black man in prison solely on her word. And as this woman's ego was getting sated, this black man was suffering. And sadly, your Christian Cooper could not connect the dots because he was so busy licking the boots of all of these white supremacists looking to gain white validation and white sexual access that he was not thinking about the most important thing to black people, which is having equal justice under the law. Unfortunately, all he was thinking about was gaining that favor and acceptance for white people, and he was willing to compromise his own safety, freedom, and his life, all to try to get more favor with whites. And that's why they gave him this reality show Consolation Prize, because he was willing to go out here and make those compromises that would make it like he wasn't going to do anything to upend their system of white supremacy. This is all about giving the bootlick some sort of gift for going out here and making a compromise with white supremacy, and that's what their Christian Cooper got with this reality show, Extraordinary Murder, which shows us how mediocre a person your Christian Cooper is, because he shows us he does not have the character and the resolve to stand up for the tangible of justice. No, instead of standing up for the tangible of justice, he sat down at that table and made a spiritual compromise, and that spiritual compromise shows us your Christian Cooper is not about black people. He is not about black empowerment. He is not about protecting and preserving black civil rights. He is not about helping out other black people. He is all about himself. Unfortunately, what happens with many of your bootlicks, like your Christian Cooper, is they don't understand, like Professor Black Truth has always said, bootlick is not a job with a retirement plan. Because yes, your Christian Cooper in the short term got himself a reality show on a little small network like National Geographic, but in the long term, he doesn't have any civil rights that are protected under the law with legal precedent. And that's what happens with many of these, especially these boomer bootlicks. They only think about the short term and gaining favor with whites, and they don't think about getting important tangibles as related to justice, to set legal boundaries with precedents under the law to protect not only the civil rights of black men, but to protect the civil rights of black people all across this country. Because all it would take is one conviction and a sentence in prison to put one of these Karens away, and that would set a hard boundary on these white females that would hold them accountable for their out of control behavior, and it would set a precedent that would let these women know that if they go out here and racially profile black men and start trouble for black men, they would be punished under the law and they would be held accountable. Unfortunately, many of your boomer bootlicks, they are so busy trying to be kind to white people, hoping to gain favor and sexual access, they're not thinking about the tangibles of justice. They are not thinking about the tangible of their rights. They're not thinking about how they have a right to live in this country, and they're willing to sacrifice their rights and their freedom all to get a little bit of attention from some white people, and they're looking to sacrifice their safety, their freedom, and their life for a bit of attention from a white person. They value the social currency of whites and non-blacks more than themselves, and that is what makes these people like your Christian Cooper a danger to the entire collective of black people, because they will throw black people's rights under the bus because they want to get some attention from some white or just some non-black people, and that is what makes a bootlick a threat to black people, because a bootlick, they don't love themselves, they don't value themselves as a person, and they see themselves as an accessory in a white person's world. And because they see themselves as an accessory in a white person's world, they go out here and trivialize things like what Amy Cooper was trying to do by calling the police on a black man, saying that this black man is threatening them and trying to weaponize the police to take their own life. And what's sad is your Christian Cooper does not even value his own life. He's one of these, again, boomer bootlicks who is out to sit here and talk about forgiveness and talk about having to try to forgive and forget with a female who was actively trying to get him killed. And he's willing to drop the charges on a female who's trying to get him killed, and willing to walk away from setting legal precedent as related to not only the lives of other black men, but his own life as well. And he's willing to accept something as trivial as a reality show just so he can get that approval from these white people. And that's what's really disturbing again about this whole situation. He's willing to go out here and take this consolation prize and think that he's got something, but what he sacrificed to get his consolation prize cost every black man and black boy in this country an opportunity to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that are supposed to be guaranteed under the Constitution. Because when cases like this come, we're supposed to take these cases to court, and we're supposed to work as hard as we can to get these criminal charges prosecuted, and we're supposed to be working to stand up for our rights, because if we don't stand up for our rights, then nobody is going to stand up for us, and that's going to cause us to wind up where we're in a situation where all we do is fall. And that's what happened here with Christian Cooper. He's sitting here smiling, thinking he's got this wonderful reality show where he gets to participate in his passion, but all white supremacy did was, again, give him a consolation prize where eventually they're going to yank the rug out from under him, and in a couple of months they're going to say, oh, the Extraordinary Birder Show just isn't pulling in the ratings, and since it's not pulling in the ratings, we're going to have to cancel the show. So yeah, they gave him a couple of dollars at a TV show and gave him a little bit of the attention, but that was a short-term thing to prevent us from getting the long-term justice that we're supposed to get. And sadly, we have so many of these sellout boomer bootlicks like your Christian Cooper out there looking to go get themselves a bag. And these black bootlicks, as I've stated before in numerous videos, are a clear and present danger to all of us foundational black Americans, because these bootlicks will throw our rights under the table, sell the community completely out, and all they're thinking about is getting some paper for themselves in the short term, not understanding that eventually in the long term, when you give up your rights, all you're doing is giving the white supremacist a reason to have justification to come at you once more. Because when you don't set boundaries for people the first time, they are going to come back the next time. And when they come back the next time, what happens is that many of these black bootlicks eventually find out how black they actually were and how they aren't individuals like they think they are. What they are is another part of the black community, and because they've alienated all of the people in the black community who were looking to get justice, it's just them. And when it's just them, that's when they get the N-word moment and they're all alone and they realize what they threw away the first time, an opportunity to get justice, but they can't get justice the next time because at the end of the day, it's just them. And when it's just them, that's when they realize they're just out of luck. Now, my new comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, will be launching on June 22nd, and if you want to be a part of that Kickstarter, you can join the pre-launch page by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to check out the previous stories in the John Haynes series, you can head over to Amazon.com and pick up all of the previous John Haynes series books in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find John Haynes series books on Smashwords, the iBook Store, and Google Play, along with the other books on the SJS Direct imprint. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman. Hell's aspiring angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. The sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.